I see Skyrim in the title. This is going to be a hot take. W or L's? Let's see. I think Skyrim is hugely overrated. I think the combat is absolutely archaic and feels awful. Some of the most unengaging combat I've ever tried. The story is also nothing special or that unique. I think one of the main reasons it's held in such high regard is that the mods that add so much to the game that you forget BGS developed a pretty mid-game in the first place. If you need mods to make the game fun, I think it says a lot about the original game design. Also, horse armor. I think it's really tricky to go back nowadays. You guys are just breaking the chat. It can't reload fast enough. I think it's really tough to go back and try Skyrim again with like modern, through modern eyes, because it was very much a game of its time. And I think, if you look at the reception to the game at the time, overwhelmingly positive. People ate it up. It really was like a game of the generation. So I think for the time, it actually was that phenomenal. I just think it's going on 15 years old and it feels like it, and the combat wasn't ever that great. But that's the thing, is like Bethesda doesn't make phenomenal role-playing games. It doesn't make phenomenal open world games. They create their own like specific niche thing. It's just different. Like some people call them just sandbox adventure games, but if I had to just put a word on it, I'd just say they're adventure games that have RPG elements, but ultimately adventure. That's what those games are about. My hot take is that AC died after 3, with my only exception being Odyssey, because as a history major, it was super fun to experience. And yes, Black Flag was something that never landed with me at 13 years old. Died after 3. I mean, after 3, I think they started to feel way different. I'll give you that. Maybe the old format, the structure changed forever after that. I would say maybe even just, I might shift it forward. Assassin's Creed as the original franchise stood, I think ended and died after Unity. I think Unity was where they said, we have to do a totally new format. We have to reinvent it. I think the horrific reception of that, mainly because of technical elements, but also I think they kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater. I think they were like, oh, the game did badly, so we have to start over completely. When in reality, people are like, no, we like the black box missions and stuff. We like pieces of Unity. It's just that it runs like ass and it's broken and rushed. But they instead threw the entire thing out and reinvented it as an open world adventure series with like RPG elements and stuff. So I would argue that Unity is where it like died, as the old games were. Now we're starting to get some that are like spiritual successors and some that they're trying to reignite. So like, Mirage was designed in a similar way to old school Assassin's Creed games. But I think Unity is the moment where the franchise took a major shift and they decided at that point we're going in a different direction. Let's see, game 2006. I think player counts on Steam and sales should remain confidential because a lot of brainless people think lots of players equals an objectively good game. I think player counts like SteamDB are useful for live service games to inform purchasers. For example, like if I'm about to buy a live service game and I find out that only 600 people in the world are playing it, I'm probably not going to buy it because I'm like, it's going to take 15 minutes to find a match. I'm good. For single player games, yeah, I don't know what use that actually gives people. Because if you are playing a game and there's only one other person on the planet playing it, that doesn't change the quality of the game. If the game's good, it'll still be good even if no one else is playing it. So I can understand why it could be argued that maybe allowing that information to be public can needlessly distract from the discussion of what the game actually is. Yeah, it's good for clickbait thumbnails. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like I think just keep it public personally. I think more information is good, but I could understand the argument if you're saying it does more harm than good. I think that's probably fair. I mean, the only people I really see obsessing over player counts are typically those who are trying to be upset about it and are trying to like say it's a flop or something. They tend to be the ones that have SteamDB bookmarked. But I think it's more information is generally good. I'll be honest, I'm shocked that it's still public. I thought by the end of last year we would have seen the SteamDB API stuff cut out concurrent player counts, because I was sure like every AAA studio, every publisher is calling them being like, please take it off. It's just, it doesn't help. Even if our game is initially struggling, it just turns into a point for them to mock us and like call the game dead. Please remove it. But we'll see if they ever do it. Hot take or base take. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be incredibly middle of the road. Yeah, I don't even think that's scandalous. I think most people are expecting that. I did that survey back in the day. When Starfield launched, I did a survey at launch asking people, are you more or less likely to buy Elder Scrolls 6, like after Starfield? And at that point, initially, it was like 40% of people were like, I'm more excited. And then I asked like 3 months later, once people had played it. And bear in mind that these polls on YouTube had like 70,000 votes on them. So huge sample sizes. And when I asked later, it was down to like only 3% of players actually said they were more excited for Elder Scrolls 6 once they finished Starfield and played a lot more of it. And I think that that should be the most concerning thing for Bethesda of any piece of data that they've gotten in the last 5 years. Do their own survey. I don't care. But they'll find out similar stuff. Starfield, I think, made more people less excited for their next game, which is the opposite of how it should be. You should play Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty and be like, ooh, I can't wait to see what they do with The Witcher 4. That's what most people did. It's like, they did that. I can't wait to see what they do next. But with BGS, it's the opposite. Their work actively turns people off, which is not how it's supposed to go. So yeah, that's I don't think that's even that hot of a take. Hot take. Hot take followed by Ghost of Tsushima. Let's see. Hot take, buckle up. W's or L's. From T-Bone, Ghost of Tsushima is a great game, but Jin Sakai is the worst part of the game. The story is great, and the idea of going against your honors makes for a great idea. Jin is just boring and a bland character that leaves a lot to be desired. Ooh, you're gonna tick some people off with that one. A disrespectful L. That one, I'm not sure if I agree. I don't think I agree. I think I'd have to give that an L. Yeah, somebody even put the Death Stranding baby butt on it. Jimothy did. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think I agree with the L takes. I think it's Jin is it takes a little while to get going, certainly, but once it gets going and Jin really settles into the character arc, it works. I think it is really slow at the start, the like getting to know him and the building of the character, but once it clicks, I think it really clicks. So I'm gonna say L on that. I'm gonna say L. Melissa says, lukewarm take. More games need to have couch co-op, especially if the powers that be insist on forcing live service multiplayer on us. Hot take. Oh, also said that we'll do the first one. More games should have couch co-op. 1000%. Totally agree. Hot take. Let's all hope Rockstar has finally figured out control mapping in time for GTA 6. I couldn't complete Red Dead 2 because of the terrible button mashing. I'm running. You see, it's supposed to make you feel like you're running too with your thumb. It's all part of it. They could just, yeah. I don't think they change it though. I think for them, the most common saying in the studio is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think for them, they're like, every game we release sells gangbusters and people love them. Let's just not mess with it. So I would be surprised if they actually changed that, but we'll see. Lego Frodo. Couch co-op, but also online co-op. I'd love to be able to play GTA 6's story in online co-op as both protagonists. That'd be really cool. You just have to rebalance all encounters and quests and stuff. So I think that would be way, way harder to do. But it would let them get away with calling it always online. And you know how much executives love doing that. Let's see. Okay. 53 Nights. Gaming needs more multiplayer story games. Also, inventory limits is a great gameplay mechanic, and games shouldn't magically let you transfer items to a storage container. Ooh, that is a hot take. No, like infinite storage containers to hoard stuff. I think I'd have to see a specific example of like what game you're referring to. Because if you balance the entire game around not just collecting garbage, I'd be okay with that. Because like I'm thinking of like Fallout 4, you collect a ton of stuff and then you just have a bunch of garbage and you don't even want it or need it. And then you just throw it in a chest somewhere for crafting later. Like, yeah, getting rid of that, I'd be okay with if they got rid of all the random garbage that you collect. But they'd have to do that, you know? So I think this would require total rebalancing of major games, but that is an interesting one. As for more narrative story, or more narrative and story-based multiplayer games, that I think we've seen like, Split Fiction, It Takes Two, even just couch co-op multiplayer games. People eat those up. People love them. So I agree. Games that are multiplayer but actually have stories, not just like, there is a story that plays out over 5 seasons. I agree that would be nice. Michael, GTG, Death Stranding is a masterpiece. It's so addicting even if you're just a delivery person. Masterpiece is a big word, man. That's a heavy word, man. I don't know if I'd call it a masterpiece. It's unique. It doesn't really play like anything else, but I don't know, man. A masterpiece is one heavy word. That's a heavy word. I'm gonna say L. I'm gonna say L because I wouldn't give it quite a masterpiece level. Hot take: Todd Howard is a mere mortal. Okay, there we go. No, I'm kidding. You're fine. Banned. Remington, GT Online was never good and it's never been fun or an engaging experience. This one, I've had fun with it, only on private servers though. Only on private servers. Public servers are terrible. They're dreadful. Xbox is better than PlayStation in more ways than PlayStation is better than Xbox. Ooh, scandalous. Dude, people get triggered when you mention stuff like that. People get triggered. I don't even know. I think they each have their own strengths. But yeah, this here's bait. Hot take from a 50-year-old plus gamer. Cosmetic microtransactions are just as bad as pay-to-win micros. Oh. In the old days, you'd get new gear and think, I wonder if it'll make me look awesome. Today, you know going in-game rewards will never make you look awesome. Only your wallet will. This takes a massive thing from loot/drop-based games, both single and multiplayer. I agree to a certain extent. Like, the reason why I don't like pay-to-win microtransactions and stuff is because it literally just sucks the very soul and essence out of the game if you're not willing to spend money. But I do understand what you're saying, where you're saying it's by removing like the best cosmetics and selling them back to you, it creates an incentive to keep all of the really cool stuff in the shop because they want you to buy it. So it's removing a major component of these games that used to have really good cosmetics because they have to cut it out to sell it back to you. So I see what you're saying. I don't think it's quite as bad as pay to win because I think pay to win just ruins the game. Whereas not having great cosmetics can just be a bummer. But I do see what you're saying. I do think it's a major component, but I don't think it's quite as bad as pay to win. Degrees below, hot take, all the new Wolfenstein games were mid. Only really enjoyed Wolfenstein 2. The new Colossus. BJ's inner monologue were boring. Gameplay was too slow. Open world zone structure of 2 and Youngblood actively harmed any enjoyment. Went into expecting something more akin to Doom 2016. Maybe that's where I went wrong. I'd have to think about it. It's been so long. I don't think they've all been mid, but I could see how you could argue this. So this one, I'm going to give a line, not a W or an L. I'm like, okay, let's see. Hot take, Saints Row Reboot was actually good. Well, that's that one. I'm open to hearing. I'm open to hearing the argument. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's gonna be tough to argue, though. I feel that's bait. It might be bait. It might be bait. Jess is in here a lot. That might be bait. Enigma, hot take. The ending to Mass Effect 3 is perfect. Ooh. W or L. W or L. Mass Effect 3's ending, I don't know, man. I think it was, to a certain extent, I'm not sure if there was ever anything they could do to live up to the expectations, because I think people were hoping for something that really justified years and years and years of playing. But I don't know if I would go so far as to say it's perfect. I think maybe you could say it's like, it's just the reality. They couldn't do any better, but perfect is a strong statement. Live service games, this is from Jamothy. Live service games aren't bad as a concept. It's just devs use them to print money instead of coming up with a fun, evolving world and a story that works with the format. I agree 1,000%. I think whenever you design a game primarily around making money instead of primarily around making a fun game, that's where you run into troubles. Almost done. Sir Pickle Willie, hot take, Kojima's dialogue is actually good. I feel sorry if you think that dialogue's good. I don't even know. Todd Howard, hot take. Todd Howard is not that short. It's just, I'm just saying, guys, I have no reason to think this. I have no reason to say this. I'm just saying. Hot take, if you dislike AC2, you're wrong. Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. Okay, well, fam, we got through all of them, all of your hot takes. That's phenomenal. What we're going to do is I'm going to be putting the Luke Asks You channel. We're going to be locking that and going down into this questions for the audience tab. And I'm going to do everything through these threads just to clean it up. So you can click on the thread and then answer the specific question on that thread. So we keep all of the answers and reactions to one thread for each question I ask you. We're going to do it that way. But thank you, everybody who gave your hot takes and reactions. That's awesome. I appreciate you. A lot of solid takes, honestly. some very legitimate hot takes that I was surprised by. But on the whole, pretty impressed at people's perspectives. I appreciate it.